So my name is Mrs.M.REVATHY, working as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. Today we are going to discuss about the Unified Modeling Language in OOAD. So what is the use of Unified Modeling Language and what are all the types are there? First, what is UML and why we use UML? UML is a Unified Modeling Language which expresses the idea and not a methodology. It describes a software system at a high level of abstraction. UML has become a world standard object management group. What is UML and why we use UML? Generally, we use a graphical notation in UML because it explains clearly than a natural language and it helps to acquire an overall view of a system. UML is not dependent on any one language or technology. It generally moves us from fragmentation to standardization. That's why we use UML languages. And now we are going to discuss what are all the types of UML diagrams. There are various types. First one is use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram and state diagram. So we are going to discuss one by one. First one is a use case diagram. So use case diagram is a set of use cases. So it is a model of interaction between the external users of a software product and the software product itself. That means describing a set of user scenarios because it captures the user requirements and contract between the end users and the software developers. It's a sample use case diagram. So a client is generally we will mention as an actor. What are the use case diagrams? That is actors, use cases and system boundary. What is actor? Actor is nothing but a role that a user plays with respect to the system, including the human users and the other system. And use case is nothing but a set of scenarios that describing the interaction between the user and the system, including the alternatives. System boundary is nothing but a rectangle diagram representing the boundary between the actors and the system. This is the symbol of actor and this is the symbol of use cases. So what is meant by association and generalization? Association is nothing but a communication between an actor and a use case. It is represented by a solid line. Whereas the generalization, it's a relationship between the one general use case and a special case. Usually, the generalization is represented by means of arrowhead toward a parent use case. So what is meant by class diagram? A class diagram depicts the classes and their relationship. It is used for describing the structure and behavior in the use cases. Provide a conceptual model of the system in terms of entities and their relationship. Generally, it is used for the requirement capture and the end user interaction. The detailed class diagrams are used for the developers. So each class diagram is represented by a rectangle subdivided into three compartments. One is for name, another one is for attributes and another one is for operations. Generally, the modifiers are used to indicate the visibility of attributes and operations. Plus symbol is generally used to denote the public visibility that everyone can see. Hashtag symbol is used for denoted to that is protected visibility. It is only the specified persons can be visible, that is like friends and derived. And hyphen symbol is used to denote the private visibility that no one can able to see that one, access that one. By default, the attributes are hidden and operations are visible. This is an example class diagram, whereas the account name is a name, attributes are customer name and balance, and other operations are add funds, withdraw, transfer. These are all the operations. It's an example for class diagram. Next one is an object-oriented relationship. There are two kinds of relationships are there. One is generalization and another one is an association. Generalization, it's a parent-child relationship, whereas an association, student enrolls in course. It is an example for this one. So the association can be further classified as an aggregation and composition. It is an example diagram for object-oriented relationship under generalization. So inheritance is required feature of the object orientation. Generalization expresses a parent-child relationship among the related classes, where it is used for abstracting details in several layers. So represent the relationship between the instances of the classes. So student enrolls in a course, courses have students, courses have exam, etc. These are all the examples of this one. For association has two ends. One is role names, example enrolls. Multiplicity, example one course can have many students. Navigability, it is an unidirectional or it may be a bidirectional. This is the representation of composition. Association means it models the part-whole relationship. Composition means also it's a model of a part-whole relationship. But in addition, every part may belong to only one whole. And if the whole is deleted, so are the parts. Example, a number of different chessboards. Each square belongs to only one board. If the chessboard is thrown away, all the 64 squares on the board goes as well. Next, aggregation. Aggregation expresses a relationship among instances of the related classes. It is a specific kind of a container and containee relationship. Expresses more informal relationship than a composition expressed. Aggregation is an appropriate when container and containees have no special access privileges to each other. It is an example for aggregation. Next one is an interaction diagram. Interaction diagram shows how the objects interact with each other. UML supports two types of interaction diagram. One is a sequence diagram and another one is a collaboration diagram. So for example for the sequence diagram, making a phone call. Sequence diagram, object interaction. A message that object sent to itself. Condition, it indicates when a message is sent. The message is sent only if the condition is true. It is the representation of object interaction. Next comes to sequence diagram, object lifespans. So there are three things are there: creation, activation and deletion. In creation, it creates a message and object life starts at that point. Activation, symbolized by rectangular stripes, plays on a lifeline where the object is activated. So the rectangle also denotes when the object is deactivated. For deletion, placing a lifeline for that X, object's life ends at that point. This is an example for interaction diagram. That is, the collaboration diagrams are equivalent to the sequence diagram. All the features of the sequence diagrams are equally applicable to collaboration diagram. Use a sequence diagram when a transfer of information is the focus of attention. Use a collaboration diagram when concentrating on the classes. Next, coming to the state diagrams. There is an example for state diagram. It's a building example. The state diagram shows the sequences of states an object goes through during its life cycle in response to stimuli. Together with its responses and actions, an abstraction of all possible behaviors. There is an example for state diagram, traffic light example. So it denotes the state and transition and what all the events takes place for that one. Thank you.